Hey guys, it's Kaz here. Who? I know, right? It's been a while. In July, I was just the slumpiest slumperson. So I didn't do any videos for like the second half of the month. I read 2 things. I was just not about that life, but I am back. It is the first Monday of the month, so obviously it's time for Media Monday. So in this video, I'm going to talk about all things non-bookish, and then my next video will probably be my June-July wrap-up, because if you noticed, you probably didn't, I didn't post a June wrap-up because I've been slumpy for 2 months, so I just like put them both together. But that is not this video. This video, we're talking about all the stuff not bookish, so things I've watched, things I've done, experienced, etc. So we'll start with the watched things first, and first of all, I did go and see Deadpool and Wolverine in the cinema. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I'm so glad that I watched it a few days after release, so I had no spoilers, no knowledge of anything going in, and I just had a great time. Obviously, I'm not going to say anything about the film because spoilers, other than I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the cameos. I really enjoyed what they did with it. It was just really, really good. So yeah, I can't really say much more than that without spoiling anything, but it was great. Another film I watched was Bottoms. This one, I believe, was on Prime, and this was really fun. It's really silly. It's a film about these girls who decide to create a fight club at school because they want to meet other girls to hook up with, and it's just stupid, but in the best way. It's silly. They lie about being in juvie and like beating other people up. It's just really, really silly. The adults are all just saying weird ass stuff. But yeah, it was a good time. I really enjoyed this film. I heard quite a few things about it. People seem to enjoy it, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch that, and I'm glad I did. So yeah, it's just like I said, stupid in the best possible way. If you're watching it expecting to have like reality there, it is not that. But it was really good. Very much enjoyed. I randomly, I mean obviously Deadpool Wolverine, but randomly this month, not this month now, but last month, was very like superhero-y accidentally, because I also watched Supercell, which is on Netflix. This is a series, a British series, and it's about people from the ends who get powers and crazy stuff starts happening. And the way it was done was really cool as well. Each episode followed one of the people individually, but also all of the characters. But it's mainly focused on one, and they were all trying to meet and trying to get together because this stuff was happening, and they didn't know they had powers, and the way that the powers was explained was really interesting as well. I won't say anything here because spoilers and all that, but I really enjoyed it. It was a really cool take on the whole superhero gaining powers thing, and it's definitely 100% set up for a season 2, so hopefully, it's Netflix, so probably not, but hopefully there's a season 2 because I did very much enjoy it. I had a few different cameos in. For example, Getz was one of the guys in here, which was cool. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything actory. But yeah, very much recommend if you haven't watched it already. And then the other superhero-y thing I watched was Gen V, which is funny because I've not actually seen The Boys. I've seen tiny bits and pieces here and there because my mum's watched it. I've been in the same room as her watching it. So I've like caught glimpses. But I thought this looked really cool, really interesting. It's basically about those people that have all the powers and stuff, but teenagers, and they're in a college or school. And then there's some like weird, nefarious underground things going on. And it's like, what's going on? Are people telling the truth? Is stuff happening in a bad way, in a good way? Who can we trust? All that jazz. I really enjoyed it. I have been meaning to watch The Boys. Originally I was like, oh, I want to read the comics before I watch the TV show, but I've heard that the comics aren't as good as a TV show. I've heard that they're quite different. I've heard the vibe's quite different, so I think, you know what, I'm just actually going to watch the TV show at some point. But I did very much enjoy Gen V. Obviously, I didn't get the, like, there are some crossovers and stuff here and there, so I probably didn't get the full impact of like storylines crossing over of characters from The Boys. But I did really enjoy it. So yes, watch that one as well. I did some really cool stuff that I was watching this month, which is good because I wasn't reading much. And now, onto some fun stuff as well. So this is a section just about things, stuff. Here's some cats first though, and then we'll get into that. So in July I actually ended up photographing 3 gigs, so it was really fun. There was a lot of things going on, of course. So first of all, it was Palm Reader. This was their farewell gig. Palm Reader are my favourite band. They're a local as well, and this was their final goodbye, and it was very emotional, so I photographed it. First up were Blighttown, another local band, and they were really good. Here's some pictures here. The next band was Love Is Noise. I'd never heard of them before, but they were really cool as well. They had a slight like Deftones vibe, like the singer's voice was quite similar, but they were a fun vibe. But then Palm Reader, oh my days, I cried twice. So I took my pictures, and I'd seen the set list. It was really cool as well because they got like the fans to vote for the set list. They had a Google Doc with all the songs on, and you could vote for the stuff. So that was really cool. But I knew in the set list that the 4th song was Hold Release, which is one of my favourites. And obviously as a photographer you take pictures of the first 3. So as soon as I finished my 3 I was like, get my camera in my bag, and I got out into the audience, and then I pushed to the front, and then I was at the front, and it was just like so good. They were so good. It was the best I've ever seen them perform. The crowd was singing along, I was singing along, I was crying, some other people in the crowd was crying, like I made eye contact with a few people, they were like, same. Josh, the singer, literally said like, thanks guys for singing along, but also you don't understand how hard it is to be up here and not cry when I'm trying to sing. So yeah, it was amazing, it was so good. But also sad and bittersweet because they are no more as a band. But the singer Josh is in another band called Vower, so like I'm very much a vocals girly, so it's just, that's Palm Reader 2.0 to me. So I still have Palm Reader, but just a different band. But the vocalist makes the band, for me personally, as a listener. So at least it hasn't just disappeared forever. The next gig I did was Mangata Festival. This was a 1-day festival. Can I remember all the bands' names that I went through? I photographed 13 bands, so there's quite a lot. I'm not going to tell you like about the bands. I'll try and remember and then put pictures here. So in fact, I've got them written in here. This is a book that I write in all the gigs I've ever been to, just because I like remembering stuff, so I can actually just reel them off and put a picture here. So 7th Sea, they were fun. Blighttown again, this was like the week after, so I saw them again. Cabin Boy Jumped Ship, there's a picture for you. Drior, that was random because the singer dude was also the drummer. There was just like a few members of the band. Drip Fed Empire, they were my favourite of the day. I stayed and watched their whole set. Most of the bands I took pictures and then went to another stage, took pictures. But Drip Fed Empire were really fun, really engaging. They got in the crowd. It was a great time. Ghost of Atlantis, they were a band. Hacktivists were the headline of the main stage. We had Cryptes, who were a band. Phoenix Lake, Raised by Owls, those were another ones that was really fun to watch just because they're really silly. They're like really aggressive death metal, black metal, dark metal, whatever you want to call it. Like proper aggressive, but they're just really stupid. They're from Derby, so they're quite local. And part of the show, the lead singer put a glittery gold waistcoat on, or jacket, and he was doing a competition. So we had a headbang competition. He got somebody on the stage to do some things. It was just very silly. There was like props and things. Fun time. Shrapnel were another band. And then Street Soldier, which are quite random because they're like quite, I don't want to beat down hardcore, that sort of stuff, but from Yorkshire, so like in a Yorkshire accent, which was quite funny. And then Viscera. So those are all the bands. I didn't really say much about them because it was a lot. But it was a fun time because I was with one of my friends who's also a photographer, and we just had a really fun time in the day, just hanging out, taking pictures of the bands. We went to eat some food. It was a good time. And then the 3rd and final gig that I did in July was The Warning. I'd never heard of these before, but they sold out Rock City and apparently loads of other places, so apparently people like them. But it's this band that's 3 sisters from Mexico, and they're popular. I'd literally never heard of them. But the first band, they only had 1 support, and that was Dead Pony. And oh, this was my favourite picture that I took of the night and of Dead Pony, and just the whole night in general. I really enjoyed that one. And yeah, they were fun. And then the main band, yeah, they were a band. They were alright. I wouldn't personally listen to them, but I like shooting gigs, so Yes. And yeah, those were all the gigs that I did in July. A couple more random things though. I went to Twycross Zoo, so it was a birthday present for a child, and we went to the zoo and it was really cool because we got to see loads of animals. Obviously that's why it's cool. And I think one of my favourite bits is we got to see a snow leopard eating his dinner. So it was in a bag, and then he did his little leg wiggle and ran up to the bag and then ripped it off the tree, and then he was fighting the bag for ages, and then inside the bag was a full rabbit, and then he was eating the rabbit, so it was really cute. But yeah, saw loads of cool animals. I'll just like put some random pictures up here. Did loads of stuff. It was a good time. It was a zoo. I like looking at animals. And then another thing I did, which I don't really have a picture for, so I just have to explain it. I did a karaoke for the very first time. So I always sing along. Whenever I've got music on, I sing along to it, but I've never done karaoke. Bearing in mind, it was one of those private karaoke's. There was 4 of us in a room with no strangers, so it was alright. But it was really fun actually. So every month I try and have a meal with me and my other 3 photography pals. And yeah, last month, like in June, we found this place to do karaoke, but like as we were about to leave and go home for the night. So in July we decided to have some food at a place called Revolution in Nottingham. It was nice. We tried different things each time. It was nice. And then we did karaoke, and 2 of us were kind of like, ooh, a bit scared, but we actually really enjoyed it, and we'll probably do it again in the future. So yeah. Oh, and one more fun thing. I won some pens. So Jackson's are an art supply. I think they have like an actual store somewhere, but they do a lot of online selling. And they have several groups on Facebook. They have like an oil paints one, a pastels one, a watercolour one, a drawing one, and then every week in there they have weekly giveaways, which is really cool and generous because they're always giving away loads of stuff, and all you have to do is like comment something you like about that product or something, and then I won this, so that's cool. I'm going to do an art haul at some point recently, that's not how that words work, at some point soon, because I've had quite a few supplies since the last one. So yeah, that's another thing. And that is the end of this video. I am back here now, guys. Nobody else is watching right now, but for the one person is, hi Kay. I am back. I am gonna film some more videos after this, and yes, hopefully I won't be gone again for several weeks. But if it happens, you know. This is just a hobby, and I was just Mr. McSlumperson. So yeah. You can do the things if you want. You can like, subscribe, comment, but only if you want. And yes, I'll see you in a few days with my June/July wrap up. Yes, get those books out of the way. I was slumping, and then I was also reading stuff that was very mediocre, so it was just like, ha! Get that out of the way, and then onwards and upwards for August. Bye.